It should be up, Jazer. Can you hear me? All right, let me know if you got any audio. If you can hear me, tell me you can hear me. If you can't, say you don't hear me. Do you have audio, Jazer? Okay, you do have audio. Does it seem like it's out of sync with my voice? Oh, it's not out of sync. It seems right. Okay. So what I'm going to do is I'm just going to say a couple things. It looks like another person just jumped in. I don't know who it was. I'm going to take this video that I got, and whenever it finally uploads to the internet, I'm going to go back and view the video and find out how far out of sync I was. So I set up my OBS with a microphone, one of these wireless Go 2s, and it seemed like it was having issues earlier, but I was using the microphone for the camera connected to the wireless Go 2 rather than, oh, so it looks good, Rick. It's on point. Rick's in. Thanks, Rick, for being on point. I don't know if you must be in the West Coast. You must be west of me if you're up this late. Or maybe you just like being up this late. Hell, I don't know. All right, so I think I figured it out. So I should be able to go live and with just pop up right away and go live as long as I have internet signal. And I think I figured out what's causing my internet problem. So if I need to, I'll run a wire here from the house out here to the shop so I can go live without having any loss. So that's really what I wanted to do, just figure out what it was with the audio that I could fix. And after I got off, you're in Pennsylvania, so you're up late, Rick. I'm usually up past midnight anyway. I don't normally go to bed before 1, and I'm pretty much working in the shed or working in the shop or working on videos or you know writing stuff or cleaning stuff until midnight just about every night of the week. Try to get up early, but sometimes I don't get up too early, especially on my days off. Well, Rick, I appreciate you tuning in. I got a third person in here, but I was working with my nephew there. Malachi's my nephew up there in the chat, and I was working with him trying to figure out how to do this, and I didn't want to be up too long and have a bunch of people jump in and try and figure it out. That's good that it's in sync. I figured out what the problem is, and now I won't have any issues with it going forward. See, whenever I do this, you're going to get an echo. You're going to get an echo because it's got two mics operating, even though it's only operating through one mic. And whenever I turn this mic off, now I'm out of sync, or I was out of sync. I bumped it up 300 milliseconds, so maybe I'm not out of sync anymore. I don't know. And go back to the original microphone. Ozark Bound Outdoors, what's up, bud? If I go back to the original microphone and I just use the video from the camera, it appears that it operates really well with being in sync and not having any issues. So that's a good time. Earlier, I was showing off my Derek's Predator product shirt. You can see the front of it there. You might be able to see the back of it right here. Uh, I don't wear pink. I'm one of those guys that doesn't wear pink. I don't put, I don't use lotion. I don't put beard oil in my beard. I don't know why. I just never did it. I don't paint my nails, but then you have three daughters, and before you know it, they're trying to get you to put on some kind of tiara or something, some kind of cat ears and make you look funny and have fun with them. And I just gave up. But Wayne sent me this shirt, and I guess this shirt's kind of fuchsia. It's not necessarily pink, but it looks pretty pink when I'm wearing it. And this is the first pink thing I think I've ever worn in my life. But I've worn this shirt 300, 400 times since I got it. So yeah, howdy Ozark Bound Outdoors. I like your channel. I appreciate you guys coming in. I just wanted to get this synced up and ready to go, so I can just hit the button and go on live. I need another 500 or 498 subs in order to be able to go live from the phone. But you can go live from the computer even if you don't have any subs if you want to. And going live apparently is a really good way to get those watch hours up. I thought I was gonna have to wait till my whole first season was over before I got my watch hours, but I'll probably, well, hell, my first season will be over in 3 weeks, so I'll probably won't have all the watch time hours I need to go live until, from the trap line with the phone, until later on in the year. Definitely once season is probably nearing its end before I get 1,000 subs, but I'm working on it. Any of you folks that follow me, if you'd share it, that'd be great. If you like the videos, let me know. And if there's something in the show that you think needs to be different or changed, or if there's other things that you guys want to see that I haven't produced yet, holler at me, and I'll work it in this coming season. I I plan, and I haven't said this publicly yet, and I plan to make a video. The 15th episode, the last episode of my first season, is gonna kind of talk about this a little bit, but I'll go ahead and say it here because it's not really a big deal, and probably only 4 or 5 people even see this ever. Um, but I've got plans to do truck trapping for coyotes all through November. So trapping season doesn't open in Oklahoma until December 1st, but coons, beaver, and coyotes are open all year long with no limit. And they just did that to coons about a year and a half ago. So that was the last season was basically open for coons all the whole time. And but all the other fur bearers, they start December 1st and they don't end until the end of February. But you can still trap beaver all through the spring if you want, and you can trap coyotes all year. Same thing with coons and beaver. And I plan. Um, Ozark, sorry to hear that, bud. I love to trap. I don't. I had a job in Oklahoma City that put me out of trapping for 2 seasons, and I quit it. I made $70,000 a year doing it. Now I don't even make $25,000 a year, but I get to trap. So I have a small business that I shut down twice. I shut it down during COVID, and I was doing real good in Oklahoma City, and it was starting to build. And then COVID happened, and we moved out here to the country out south of Tulsa, and I had to start rebuilding it. And then I built it up to a little bit, and then I took a job that was a really good job in Oklahoma City again, and I did that for 18 months. And I could probably still be there if I wanted to, but I wouldn't be able to trap, and I wouldn't be able to run my small business because I wouldn't have time. And I kind of bit the bullet and decided that it would be best for us to be out in the country. It's safest for us out here, especially with the way the world is these days. Y'all kind of know what's going on in the world. I'm sure this place is falling apart, unfortunately. But with the way the world is these days, it's a lot safer outside the city than it is in it. Especially Oklahoma City and Tulsa, they're two of the highest crime rate areas, in this part of the nation. And they're not lax on crime; they just got a lot of criminals. But side note, I was out of trapping for 2 seasons, and I don't plan on ever doing that again. As long as I'm alive and able to walk, I'm not doing that ever again. I'll just be broke instead. But this year, I'm planning to truck trap all through November. We're gonna just run a coyote line on places that are about 10, 15, 18 miles south of me. Not even a real big line, but I plan to put out 60 traps at least and run coyotes the whole month of November and just slay them. And then I'm going to pull all that out when that's done, or most of it, everything that's south of the highway here by us. I'm going to pull all that out, and then I'm going to run everything for 2 months. I'm going to work the ranch here and all the areas around here that I can get to with the buggy, which is what I did last year. Last year we got 72 coyotes, we caught 29 cats, and every possum. Um, and then probably 30, 35 coons is what I caught. A handful of beaver. Most of the beaver I did were on beaver jobs. And I still do nuisance work, through the season. If I have them, I'll check traps early in the morning, and then go run the beaver job, and then come home and get everything cleaned up, and then go to work, and then come back at night and take care of the fur, and then get up in the morning and do it all over again. I usually sleep about 4 hours a night whenever I'm trapping, and I operate really good on 4 hours whenever I'm trapping. It feels great. But if you sleep 8 hours on a day where you have to work hard, you're just sluggish and lazy all day, and it sucks. Um, but truck trapping all through November, 2 months solid at least. I'm going to spend in the area where I only got to drive about 6 miles in any direction. So about a 12, 15 mile circle that I'll be driving in the buggy alone without the truck, and get in those deep places. Really, really looking for cats is what I'm going for. I'm gonna try and get most of my dogs knocked out through November and early December, and then I'm gonna push for cats mid-December all the way to the end of January. And then I've got plans, and I still need to go back and talk to the folks at the National Wildlife Refuge. But we've got a wildlife refuge here close by, and they offer trapping. It's one of the only two wildlife refuges in the entire state that allow trappers to come in and trap, and it's because they got a real bad beaver problem. And that's good for me, because they're real close, and I can. What I'll do then is, instead of truck trapping, I'll just load the buggy up on a trailer and tow it over to this place every morning for a month. So I'm thinking the whole month of March, no, the whole month of February, I'm gonna spend inside the National Wildlife Refuge targeting beaver and trying to clean up the last of my cats, whatever cats I didn't catch the first month and a half, from December 15th or 20th to the end of January. Whatever I don't catch, because I can only have 20 in Oklahoma. All the states bordering me can have unlimited number, and you can only have 20 in Oklahoma. And I'm kind of upset about that in general, because the other states have no limit, but in Oklahoma you have a limit, and they say only 8 to 15 trappers a year actually catch the limit and tag them. Now others might catch them and not tag them, or shoot them and not tag them. I don't know. But out of all the hunters and all the trappers combined in the entire state of Oklahoma, when it comes to tags for cats, the average tag is somewhere around three cats per hunter, per trapper. So I think it's like 2.6 cats per trapper a year is the average number. But they won't release the limit because I don't know why. It's just they don't get anything out of it if they release the limit. And from what I hear, they're trying to do something to make it change. And I've been working on the wildlife biologist, trying to get, a bug in his ear to kind of figure out who I got to talk to, and whose skids had to be greased, in order to find out how we can move that limit up, or try and offer an extra bag limit for trappers that are actually getting those 20 cats and would like to get more and have 30 or 40 or 100 or whatever. And another tier system that gives them money. If we give them money, they'll probably be more inclined to do it. Hell, we sell all the cats, so we make money on them. I think I averaged $96 or $97. It was just under $97 last year on my cats that I sold in the auctions, but I probably sold half my cats for about $300, $400 a piece to taxi. So we do good on cats here, but not nearly as good as they do in Nevada and all them other places. So this year I'm going to have 120 days of solid trap action recorded before I start making season 2 of my show. And of course, I'm going to have a vlog up, and I'm going to do vlog shots and clip shots that I've been doing already, and I'm going to keep those going, year round, and have other videos thrown in there to keep people interested. But the best amount of my content's really going to come not from the weekly vids that come out, but it's going to come from the season 2 and season 1 and the concurrent seasons that happen afterwards. And I plan to have, I don't know, probably 20 to 25 episodes for season 2. If I get 120 days trapping and I get as much water setting in that I plan to do this year, I've got a GoPro, one of them that you're viewing me through now, the GoPro 11. I got a GoPro 10, and I'm gonna have shots. I'm gonna have multiple camera angles whenever I'm at a catch circle, and I'm gonna have multiple camera angles whenever I go into the water to be able to set traps and pull animals out. So a lot more content, better audio. It's gonna be real clear. Rick, I think I said earlier in the Trapper Man chat whenever we were in there, I don't know if you watch Trapper Jay, but Trapper Jay had a live chat earlier with 330 Maniac, and it was actually really cool, which is kind of what's inspired me to do these lives more often so I can get more people involved. But Rick, I think I averaged 12. I averaged 12 on my beaver last year, and I sold them. You know, I skinned them, but I didn't flesh them out. I just froze them, and it was just because of a time issue for me, really. If I got some really nice big blankets that were a good color, I'd probably put them all up. The first 2 or 3 years I did beaver, I put all my beaver up, and I still have castor from 2017. All the castor I've caught since 2017, I still have it, and I can't even tell you how much it is, but it's got to be 15, 20 pounds of castor. Um, and I try to make lures. I do make my own castor lure, especially in the spring whenever I'm chasing chasing the little ones whenever you're going in there trying to get mama out right away and you're doing jobs around here. I take mama's, I take the mother's glands and I do a fresh beaver gland lure type style. I had talked to Andy Weiser back in 2018, 2019 and asked him about beaver lure, and he kind of told me flat out, it's real easy to make. And he goes, my beaver lure is all made with fresh glands, and he basically uses both glands, the oil sac and the caster, and that's what I started doing. And I don't make it as fine as his is. I don't have as good of a grinder, but I make pretty much my own stuff. Great Oaks from Little Acorns. What's up, bud? Um, but yeah, I make a lot of my own beaver lure. Most of the beaver lure that I have is stuff that I made, and I've tried different variations of it. I make it without, the oil sac or without any of the oil in it, and then I make it with oil in it, and then I make it with oil sacs in it with no oil, just the sac itself. And then I also make it. Sometimes I make it specific for the mothers, like I was saying, and I'll go in and I'll use her caster and her oil sac, or sometimes I just take oil from her oil sac and I just go and make a couple of blind sets for the little ones with I got a bug in my shirt. um, I make a couple of sets that have oil near them, and then I make a couple of sets that have oil at them in order to pick up the little ones. But with the control, the beaver control here is usually pretty good. I don't get, a hunter beaver and a beaver control, but yeah, Great Oaks, that's cool, man. Being new to trapping, I was new to trapping in 2016. I got started, and nobody taught me how to trap. I um, I attribute most of my knowledge to Andy Weiser, Wayne Derrick, and folks like Cletus Richards and Lee Steinmeier, Lynn Dunham out of Kansas. Lynn is a class act. That guy's been great. Every time I talked with him, he's just a great guy. He's taught me a lot. I watch a lot of demos. When I first got started, I went to all of the Oklahoma Fur Bearers Alliance organizations, and it just so happened they used to do it in Okemah. Well, they moved it to Okmulgee, and now I live. I don't know. I'm 8-10 minutes away. I'm maybe 15-minute drive on a bad day from where they do all of their our state conventions and our state fall or our spring fur sale. So I went to every event that I could that was local and learned from the guys that were there. And it just so happens the first time I was there, Wayne Derrick was there, and I was not only a new trapper at that time, I was also a new Christian. I thought I was a Christian most of my life, but I wasn't, and I became a Christian about 2 years before that, and I got into trapping. And like I said, it was natural. I did it on my own. I got into trapping because we had beaver damming up some creeks on my grandpa's hunting property, and I wanted to get into trapping. So I went and bought conibears and didn't realize I couldn't even use conibears without a depredation permit. So I didn't trap that year, 2015, and then I didn't trap 2016. But then I got sick of it and said, you know what? I'm not gonna have all this trapping equipment and try and learn all this stuff and not do it. So I went out and started asking for permission in 2017, and you found some really good spots west of Oklahoma City because that's where I was living at the time. And we had a great time. I got, I don't know, maybe 1,800 acres, 2,500 acres the first season is what I had. And I trapped it real hard. And I trapped every day throughout the season, kept every cat I caught, even though they were not very good for fur. and just had the experience, just enjoyed it. Got into it, got into the water. Kyle, I've never used a Duke number 4. I hear it works pretty good. I use a Montana number 5s whenever I was first starting out, and they're a real cheap trap that you can get, and they work pretty good. But I caught a lot of toes, and I had a lot of toes, left in traps. I didn't like it, and so I switched over to the instead of getting the TS85, which is a decent trap, I switched over to in 2019. I bought Kindle's the original KO Beaver Extreme that he came out with, and I love them. And he sent me some other ones last year that I got from him, and they were great. Um, but the when I first started trapping, I didn't have any beaver traps. I used Bridger number 3s and targeted the front foot, and was still catching some beaver by the back foot. So the first year I trapped beaver, I'd gotten a nuisance wildlife control operator's license that year, so I could use conibears on jobs. So I was using conibears mostly, but then whenever I was using drowning traps, they were number 3 bridgers that I'd set up specifically for beaver. So it was a good time. But I don't know about the Duke number 4. I've never used it, but I know a lot of people do use it. The TS85s, from what I hear, are expensive and they're kind of out of the range. If you're, I'll tell you what, Kyle, I follow Jason Vance on Instagram and YouTube, and Jason Vance buys the Duke 650. Excuse me. Jason Vance buys the Duke 650 and uses it on all of his beaver to catch them by the back foot. And he puts up, 10, 15, 20 beaver a day up in Maine. And he's only using the Duke 650 for a drowning trap. So if you're looking for something that's cheap enough to get into that you can work on, look at that Duke 650 because you can use it for coyote and beaver. 130 acres of trap in Indiana is pretty good, buddy. You're gonna have some coyotes running across 130 acres. My first season, I had an 80 acre pasture that I trapped, and I trapped a fence line on it the whole season. I caught 14 dogs on that one season. They loved me that year. They wanted me to come back every year. Mark, trapping and outdoors. How you doing, bud? Been watching all my videos, always leaving comments. I appreciate you, Mark. Thank you, bud. Yeah, targeting the front foot's good. But like I said, that 650 will work. All right, yeah, Jinx, I have a light, that's designed for, I used to have for podcasting, and I can move it and it'll brighten up a little bit on this side over here. Um, but I think the audio is really what I'm after. So now that we've had all these other folks in here, we've got Ozark Bound. Rick was in here. I don't know if Rick's still here or not. Great Oaks from Little Acorns in here. Kyle's in here, and then Mark, you just popped in, and Jinx, you just popped in. So with my audio, whenever it comes to my voice, does it sound like it's in sync still? Because earlier it was really messed up, and then we think we got it fixed. So audio is good too. Okay, good, great, great. That's good. So this is kind of, we've kind of gone on for about 25 minutes now, but I'm just kind of chatting with these guys, responding to some of the questions they asked me, and I I just wanted to get this thing figured out, but I'm glad it's working now. I'll be able to go live from the computer anytime I've got service. We got really great internet service out here in the country. They've got fiber optic that they've run out here, and it's great. But but the place that I hang out in, because we all live in basically a compound here. I got my mom's place. Her husband owns it, and my grandpa owns a trailer on the property here, and my wife and I, who now have 3 kids that are about to have our 4th baby any day now, live here in this house with my mom and my stepdad. And it's a mess. I mean, it's a big house, so it's big enough for everybody, but I don't have space. So I've basically invaded my stepdad's shop, poor guy. And this is his wood shop that you can't really see, and I don't know if I can show you, but he's got a wood shop in here. It's pretty good. And my grandpa's got a big chest freezer in here because he doesn't have room for it in his house. And I've got 3 freezers on the wall in the garage, and my whole shop is set up in there. So I've got about half of the garage in there I've taken for myself. And the poor guy. I'm just taking such advantage of that guy right now. But I don't have a setup the way I want to, and I don't have internet service out in this room. I can barely get Wi-Fi through the doorway because it's an old steel building. So I'm thinking if these lives are going to start picking up and it's something I might get into doing more often, I'll probably get internet service run to this building. Then I'll just have my own Wi-Fi in here. That way I won't have to worry about trying to connect with them because during the day when everybody's awake, I can barely get service out here. But once everybody's gone to sleep, like right now I've got enough service and I can actually run a live and it hasn't dropped out on me one time. Um, so uh, can we donate to you yet? No, you know what, Little Acorns, I haven't taken donations. I do have a, oh, what the hell's that thing called? I've got the Cash App and I've got PayPal, but I don't really have the ability to get money off of it. I've only used it to put money on it and spend it online for people who needed those type of payments. I I don't, I'm going to sell merch in the future, and once things start picking up, if I can get YouTube to pick up, I've actually just got enough subscribers to be able to start doing, subscriptions or whatever they call it, and start doing supers. But I need to get another 495 subscribers before I can actually monetize. So I'm really just trying to put out good content that's free, so you guys can, enjoy it and share it around, so I can get monetized and do all of that. Let me look at some of these comments here. Oh, but yeah, at this point I'm not taking donations. I'm giving out trapping information for free. Everybody that taught me anything I learned after I got on trapperman.com and started reading everybody's comments, they taught me for free. They didn't charge me for nothing. I don't disagree with people, selling their information because it's their information. They can sell it if they want to, but I'm just going to give it out for free. I'm going to sell products in the future, merch, trapline tools, and lures. I'm going to start building lures over the next couple of years. I've already worked on a couple recipes that I like. I've got my own cat lure that I started that's called Alpha Kitty. And then I got a coyote lure that I haven't named. I just call it coyote number one. They're both land lures. And I like them a lot, but they're not really where I want them. And in the future, I'll start selling products, and that'll be the best way for you to give me money is for, me to sell products to you that you can actually use on the trap line and share with other people. That'd be the best thing. So I appreciate that comment though. Uh, Wyoming West. It says, I'm looking forward to your Bobcat videos. I'm always looking for new ideas. Yeah, listen, I've got a lot of Bobcat stuff on this first season. I've got a lot of videos from earlier, the vlogs and stuff that I did previously during the season. Um, right now, episode 10 dropped a couple days ago. Tomorrow, episode 11 comes out. And then I have 4 more episodes that are going to pop out. And the last one's going to come out on October 12th. And October 12th is the day before, that's setup day for the Oklahoma Fur Bearers Alliance Fall Rondy. And we're going to have a good time, at the Rondy. I'm planning on being there. I got a baby that's due on the 10th or the 12th. But our babies always come early, my first son. And I'm excited about it. And I don't want to leave my wife hanging, right after the baby's been born. We're going to make sure that the baby's, been around at least a week before I decide I'm going to leave her alone. And of course, I can take all the other kids with me when I go. But I plan on being at the event for 2 days straight and helping them set up. And I'm going to take a lot of video. I'm going to try and get a video of 3 or 4 of the demos if the guys are willing to let me do it. And then I'm going to interview those guys that I got demo videos for. And I'm going to probably interview Trapper Adrian. I like him a lot. And any of the guys that are there that are, maybe not doing demos, that are trappers, that do have businesses and stories, and, they've been around trapping for a while. I'm probably going to interview a handful of people, and I'm going to put out a series of separate videos that have to do with the event so I can get more than just a video or two out of it. Probably get, 5 or 6. But I've got a lot of cat trapping stuff that's in this season, especially the last 4 episodes. 4 or 5 episodes. There's a lot of cats, so I'm not, I'm not the best at explaining it, and I had to edit out a lot of stuff because I spent so much time talking to the camera. Over the next couple of years, I'll figure out how to talk to a camera quickly, get exactly out what I want to say out in a short amount of time where I can still show you, 6, 7, 8, 10 catches an episode rather than just, 2 or 3 catches an episode or whatever. But, yeah, there'll be more bobcat videos and more ideas coming. I'm learning every day. I'm not a great trapper. I'm not excellent at this. I'm better at making videos than I am at trapping. I'll tell you that much. And I'm just now learning how to make videos the last year and a half. So, trapping is something I'm always trying to excel at and be better at. I'm very competitive, and I'm more competitive against myself than I am other people. So I always try to outdo myself and do better than I did before, and always push myself. But it is what it is. I'm going to do better. I'm going to do more, and everybody who's watching my channel is going to learn along with me. And you're going to see me make mistakes. And if you've been watching my show already up to this point, you've seen me make a few. Yeah, Kyle, I do fur handling. I've got a one video up on my channel where I did fur handling. I did from start to finish. I had a bobcat that I skinned, fleshed, and put up, and I actually recorded a second video of how I do a taxidermy bobcat skin, flesh, and put up. And of course, the put up's not, you just freeze it, but skin and flesh. And I never put that together. I've got it. I put it all in a file. I left it on the computer. I got lazy and I didn't do it. See, what happened last year is I trapped hard for 99 days, 103 days actually, not 99 days. At 99 days, I was almost all the way pulled out, 103 days straight. And then after that, we had a fur sale just a few days after that, and then another fur sale a week, the next week after that. And then I got hit with beaver jobs in March, and I never got back out there. I planned on doing more snaring and more beaver trapping for the show, and I ended up getting hit with these jobs, and they were one-off jobs, but there was just one right after another, which praise the Lord for them, but there wasn't a lot of beaver in there, wasn't a lot of video. I didn't have the good video cameras that I got now. And I have a real decent camera, but it's on a tripod. It sits up and it's not waterproof. So now I've got 2 different GoPros and I've got a separate audio device. So I'm never gonna have audio drop on me anymore. We're not gonna have problems with wind destroying my audio, which did happen in this season. And if you're interested in videos on skinning animals and putting animals up this season, I'm gonna make as many of those I can. One for beaver, one for coyotes, maybe another one for bobcat, just for shits and giggles. And I don't know. I'm not the best at putting up fur. I know how to put up the fur. I can trap around here. I've still never put up an otter. I've got 2 in the freezer I need to put up. I've got 2 mink in the freezer I've never even skinned, and I've got a gray fox that I caught in 2020 that's totally frozen that I never even skinned. So I got other animals that I need to work on, and I could probably take videos when I do those just for my own benefit. But I kind of want to get to know how to use it, how to skin them a little bit first. It's not much different coyote, I'm sure, but obviously I can skin an otter. But my fur handling is not up there just yet. I can do it, but I'm not. I don't feel like I can be an authority and teach people how to do it until I really know what I'm doing. Thanks, Great Oaks, for sharing my stuff. I appreciate it. Yeah, hunting and stuff. How's it look? It seems like it's in sync now. Yeah, I think we got it figured out. And I think it'll work real good. And you can see that I'm getting enough data over here now where it's good, clear video. We got enough light. I can add more light if I need to, and we can do these lives from the computer now. I can't do it from the phone yet, but once I get 1,000 subs, we'll do it from the phone on the trap line from time to time. Great Oaks, let's say here. It says, here in Indiana, I caught 4 bobcats and 1 coyote. I'm a noob too. It's dumb and we don't have a season. Are cats easier than coyotes? You know what? It's funny you say that. 2017, I started trapping. November 26th, I went and set traps in. I was off that day. I was off November 27th. So I went in November 27th and went and checked the first place I set traps, and the first animal I saw was a damn cat. First, and it was Tim Cabin's, what was it? It was GH11 or GH2 mixed with Tim Cabin's whatever his bait is. That's real popular. I think it's got mice in it. I used that. I made a dirt hole for coyotes specifically, knowing that it was too early to keep cats. And I got there, and the first animal I had was a cat, and I had to release it. Couldn't believe it. Oh, I got a bug. Y'all ever get bugs in your coffee whenever you're out in the shop? Happens to me all the time. Especially with this big light right here. So yeah, cats seem to be easier to catch, easier to trick. They're a lot more curious, and they love smells. If you've got a lot of cats, you'll know, especially if you caught 4 in one spot. So that's pretty good. Jinx says, that's good. We're pretty similar. Praise the Lord. Kyle says, perfect. Can't wait. Hunting and Stuff says, the video hasn't paused since I got back. Praise the Lord. I think it's fixed. I've got really good data right now. As the data drops, it might try and freeze a little bit, but for the most part, the audio is good. Excuse me, folks. It's just a bubble, not a bug. I'd probably use a little protein anyway. Wyoming West says, I love to see the mistakes. Most guys only show the right things to do. I want to learn from what I'm doing wrong. Hey, you'll see that that's one big thing that I like too, and I appreciate you saying that. On my show, you'll see I make mistakes. There's an episode, I forget which episode it is, but it's called Cat Gland Slays the Dogs. I don't know if it's episode 5 or episode 6. And in that episode, I start out talking about how I didn't want to use cat glands on coyote sets because I've known that there are cat glands that will make coyotes roll. And then I moved to, oh, maybe it's just the ingredients in some cat glands that make coyotes roll. And I don't have a whole lot of cat glands. I always have some Super Cat from Wayne Derrick in stock, 2 or 3 jars. Super Cat by Wayne Derrick is the best. It's the best cat lure I've ever used in my life. I've got some of Andy's Bobcat gland lure from back when he was still making lure that I still haven't used. I had 2 jars of that, and I've got almost a full jar of it now. I use Cletus Richards Bobcat gland lure, and I use say Pecos Valley and then Nightcat and some of the other caster based, call rubblers for cats. And I'd been told, and I read this on the internet, and you need to be smart enough to not do what I did, but I took information that I learned on Trapper Man and on forums and just assumed that, cat gland was going to make dogs roll. And I've caught a lot of cats on dog glands, but I catch more cats on cat glands. When I was transitioning into cats, I started remaking sets and putting in new sets only with cat gland. And sure enough, I started catching more dogs in all the spots where I was putting in cat glands. And in that episode, you see me go from cat glands aren't going to work on dogs to cat glands are the only thing that really slays dogs, especially in the deep winter. And it's a fact. I'd have coyote glands, and I made multiple location sets. I always put 2 traps at every location, and I made multiple places where I put a trap in one spot, and 10 yards away, I've got another trap in another spot. One's cat gland, one is coyote gland. And whenever it snowed on me, the coyotes hit all those spots where the cat glands were and didn't even touch that coyote gland. Didn't even touch it. I couldn't believe it. So, when I use Andy Weiser's Tainted Love, it didn't matter. It doesn't matter. Cats, coyotes, they all touch it. They all go after it. Coons, anything. But it targets cats and coyotes. And it works real good. But I make a lot of mistakes in this season even, and some of them, I was able to have in the show because the video fit and I had the right audio and everything worked out, and some of them I didn't. I had rabbits plugging up sets, and I had an owl that was eating my rabbits. So I would get there and there'd be a rabbit foot in the set. And then I'd come back the next day, the same trap 3 days in a row had a rabbit foot in it, every single day. Another trap not too far from there had a whole rabbit in it, and then the next day I caught the owl. And I was able to let him go. He was just caught by 1 foot, and he took off. But I mean, you're going to have non-target catches from time to time, and that's a mistake. But it's not a mistake I can put on camera because it's not something I want to see. It's not something that's even right. It's unfortunate that sometimes you're going to catch birds, non-target birds, and other non-target animals, and some of those you don't want to show. But I was having a lot of issues where I'd have traps flipped off too, and I try to show most of that, and I show the mistakes where the coyotes get in there and they mess up, or I have my trap placement in the wrong spot, and the coyote gets in there and he's touching around the pan, but he doesn't touch the pan, and that's my fault because I should have caught that coyote. I'll move on here to some stuff. Great Oak said, I used Tim Cabin's Gusto in Hiawatha Valley. That's it. That was the bait that I used on the first. I still got that jar. I still have that same jar. It was one of the big 16-ounce jars, and I used half of it, and I never used the whole thing. I'm not a big bait guy. I'll talk a lot about that in the episodes, but I'm not a big bait guy. I don't like using bait. I don't like possums and coons. I hate coons, by the way, and I don't want to catch possums all the time. You're gonna do it, but if you use glandular and urine outside of cattle, you catch a lot less of that. Uh, Jazer said bye. See you later, bud. Um, let's see here. Hunting and Stuff says it seems odd to be in a live video on YouTube that no one has a wrench. That's true. I haven't made anybody a moderator yet. I guess I don't really know too many people except, well, I really don't know a lot of YouTubers. Jinx and Mark J. Larson have been, once they found my stuff, they both kind of found it at the same time, and they they both started commenting on all my stuff that they saw that they liked, and that's kind of what got me involved in the YouTube community. And I was telling Jinx that on Instagram today. I don't. I had been putting up videos for a couple of years, and they weren't super consistent, but all through last season they were consistent. But I wasn't doing any communication with the community. I wasn't involved with the community in YouTube. I wasn't involved with the community in Instagram. I was just posting my stuff and going on and booking it and going all day long and just posting it and going. And some things would get 40, 50 views. Some things would get nothing. So now I figured out that the way this works, and that's why this live is happening, is because you got to get involved with the community here. You got to communicate people. You got to go and follow them. You got to watch their stuff. And I watched a lot of people's stuff. I just didn't always comment, didn't always like. I just watch it and move on. Sometimes I scroll through a video and move on. And I'm starting to figure out that getting involved with the community is the way to go. We go on a little further, we'll eventually have moderators. I hadn't figured all that out yet. What's here? It says Jinx says hunting and stuff. Are you hunting and stuff with J&J? And you said yes. And then Jinx said he thought maybe. So GDog420 says keep up the good work, Ken. Have a good night. Thanks, GDog. I appreciate you, bud. You have a good night too. Little Acorn says have a good night, buddy. Remember to hit the like button, everyone. Thanks for everything, everyone. Yeah, I agree. Thank you, everybody. Hunting and Stuff says I think I'm the only one that makes such a dumb name. Hey, it is what it is. My name's Ken. I go Dominion Predator Controls the name of the business, but I answer to Ken. I mean, that's my name, and I know it's kind of weird when you get on YouTube, you get in the community, and you got folks in here, and they're just gonna have a hard time saying your name because all they see is your handle. So your handle is your name. It is what it is. And Jinx goes on to say, oh, he says you can make me blue if you want. No biggie, mods can be helpful. I will figure that out at some point how that's done. I haven't figured that out yet. I noticed that a lot of you guys that have been, not just commenting on my stuff, but commenting on a lot of other people's stuff, that you guys are mods in a lot of different people's stuff, and I'll probably set up a lot of the similar mods. People I get to know a little bit. Hunting and Stuff says being involved with the community is huge. Yeah, you're right. The community is a big deal. We don't. I just thought, I don't know what I thought. I thought that YouTube would just naturally pick up the videos. I thought that the stuff that I put out there would just naturally get picked up by people, and people would search for it and find it. Excuse me. I thought that I would. I thought that my videos, if the content was good, the people would like it. But the problem is getting that video in front of the person so they can like it. That's the part that's hard. Have your mods run links. I wonder what that means. So I noticed whenever I was in the Trapper J live earlier with Maniac 330 that I was observing, and there was a handful of mods in there. Judith and Dan, Mark J, a handful of other people, and Mark kept dropping links inside the thing, and I can't do that whenever I'm on somebody else's live. I can't put a link in there. But he was dropping links. He would say hi to somebody and tag them, and then he would drop a link to their YouTube. And I actually gained a couple of subscribers just being in that chat because Mark dropped my link. to say here? Trolls too. Yeah, I haven't seen any trolls yet. Maybe they kick them out all the time. It's better to not have to concentrate on how to manage the chat. So I guess that's why you would need a moderator, especially if right now we're kind of communicating back and forth with the chat because I can't hear you, but you can only hear me. So I'm reading the chat in order to get answer questions and communicate with you guys that way. But a lot of folks that probably do like a newscast or do like a show that's live where they do interviews or whatever, broadcast, they're probably not even viewing the chat, except for like segmented sections of their show where they go, oh, let's see what this person had to say, and they pull up a couple supers and talk about it, respond to it, and then move on. So they probably really need moderators when it comes to something like that to make sure that everything's on the up and up and that they're taking care of it. And I would hate to have to sit here and mess with the chat while I'm trying to talk. So that's why a moderator is necessary. Mods can share out links, only mods. Okay, so that's right. So that's what I thought. Because I've tried to drop links in YouTube lives before, and it doesn't work. It shows the words to the link, but it doesn't. You can't do anything about it. So yeah, it's pretty cool that we got this figured out. I'm expecting to go live more often just to kind of drum up some attention to the show. I'd really like the second season of the show to be off the chain, not just in content, which I plan to do, but I want everybody to be able to find something that they like out of it, especially people that are in outdoor shows and trapping. I'm not going to market it, at a certain group of people other than trappers. I don't plan on I don't plan on bringing in a bunch of other content that's not outdoor related. Maybe in the future, if I get a few years in me on this and I can do, YouTube and trapping full time, which I plan to do. I'm not going to really start producing lures and producing trapline tools until I've got the capability to be able to do this kind of work full time. Excuse me, I'm a smoker and I'm going to smoke while I'm talking. So if that offends you, I apologize. Anyway, um, the in the future, I'd like to be able to produce trapline tools. I'm a welder. I'm a TIG welder. I've got excellent TIG welding equipment. I've got multiple machines. I make my own drags. I make a lot of stuff. I've done a lot of my own modifications. I want to be able to make my own drivers and, weld up my own hammers and then weld up my own sifters and do all that kind of work. And I'm gonna spend time on that and be able to produce a lot of trapline tools and equipment that can be sold that I can take to rendezvous and nationals and stuff like that and sell it. But I kind of want my YouTube and my own business, my own trapping business, to kind of pick it up off the ground. From what I see, Jinx here, what to say here says when you get your super chat, that will be helpful to you. People like to give, kind of like passing the offering plate at church. Yeah, that's cool. I've got enough subs now. I'm short 200 watch time hours to be able to get my super chat, but I will. And then when I do, I'll do. We'll do as many lives as we can to kind of boost the show a bit. That Rick, that will stunt your growth. I'm kind of short. I'm 5'11 and a half. My poor daughter, she's she's 7. She turns 8 in December, and she already stands up to here on me. She's gonna be 6'2", 6'3". She's huge. She's gonna be packing out my beaver, one over each shoulder, a whole deer on her back whenever I grow up, or when she grows up. And I quit smoking for a long time. I don't know why we're talking about smoking. That has nothing to do with trapping, but I uh I quit smoking for many years. I started smoking when I was young. I quit smoking when I was about 29, and I've got asthma, and asthma didn't affect me in my 20s at all. But I quit smoking. I think I was 26 first time I quit, and then when I was 30, I had my first daughter, and I smoked for about 3 months during the end of the pregnancy, and then I quit, and then I didn't smoke again until my wife got pregnant a second time with my second daughter, and I smoked pretty much during that whole pregnancy, and then I quit, and then we had a third baby that was born in 2020, and I started smoking before she was born, but then COVID hit, and I was out of work for a while, and I didn't quit smoking. I haven't quit smoking since, so I've been smoking ever since 2020 again, Out of the last 15 years, I probably didn't smoke for 7 of it or 6.5 of it. And the plan is my boy's on the way. I'm going to have that boy soon. And when that boy comes, I'm going to try and just quit. I'm a cold turkey quitter when it comes to stuff. It's 3 days. Nicotine lasts in your system for 3 days. And if you can get through the first 3 days, then your body is physically not addicted anymore. Now it's just a hand mouth, you know, thing that people have, the tick, which you can, suck on lollipops or eat Skittles or whatever and get rid of it. So, but yeah, Jinx, I should have supers up pretty quick. If we do a couple more lives over the next week, I got 2 more episodes coming out in the next 7 days. I should have enough hours to to get my supers up and running. Um, yeah. All right, Jinx. Sayonara, my friend. I appreciate you jumping in and doing everything you can. I appreciate that. So anyway, trapping is a great thing. Like I was telling the guys earlier, I got into trapping naturally. Nobody taught me how to trap. My grandpa taught me how to hunt when I was a boy. I grew up in the city, and he moved into the country when I was 4, and he lived out on 40 acres. That was perfect prime deer property in a great place with some good low draws, moisture running through it, and it was really wooded in. So there was a big field, behind it and on an 80 acres, and there's ponds all around, and he had 2 ponds on his property. And south of us was a 4 mile square section, no, 6 mile square section that all belonged to 2 or 3 ranches. And there's no roads through. So the deer would cross in the low spot right on his property, which was like the lowest spot for about a mile. And they would cross through right by that creek and come right on his property. We saw deer my whole life. So in the summers when I was a little boy, I would go down to his place. I'd stay there all summer. And I'd be running, he taught me how to shoot when I was 2. By the time I'm 5, I'm running around by myself with a BB gun. By the time I'm 7 or 8, I'm running around by myself with a 22. And I would just run through the woods and hang out in the woods and be there all summer long. And then I'd go back to the city. And then about the time I was 13, 14, I started acting like a real bad kid, doing a bunch of bad stuff. And I quit going to my grandpa's. And he lives here with me now, praise the Lord for that. But I quit going to his place, and I didn't get my first deer until I was 25, 24. Didn't kill my first deer, and there was nobody with me. I never skinned a deer in my life. My uncle showed me how to do it. He took his dog, laid his dog down, and showed me where to make the cuts. And I remember that, and I went and killed my first deer with a crossbow. I never even shot a regular bow, and I killed it with a crossbow. At 14 yards, I hit that doe, and she didn't run 20 yards before she was totally dead. And I had to skin that doe out by myself. I think I did pretty good. And that year, there was beaver damming up parts of the low property on my grandpa's spot. And Mark, I just see you said you got to go. I'll keep those videos coming. Thanks, bud. We're about to hit an hour. I'll probably jump off at an hour just to kind of get it out of here. But hunting and stuff. So what did he say? He said I chewed snuff for about 18 years, had to quit, and now I'm on the patches. Pouches, not patches. Yep, pouches. My grandpa did pouches for a long time. When I was a kid, everybody in my family smoked, and I picked it up when I was young. Like I said, I just said when I quit going to my grandpa's house when I was younger, that's about the time I started smoking. And I smoked, all through my teens and 20s until I was about 20, I don't know, 26, 27. That's about the first time I quit. But this is a perishable thing. I plan to quit, and I plan to quit for good for a while. I don't know, maybe till the next baby or maybe indefinitely. I don't know. I tend to smoke when I drink, and I've been drinking a whole lot more the last couple of years than I had 5, 6, 7 years before that. So I'm not a saint. I'm going to heaven when I die, but I'm not a saint, so I don't deserve it. Anyway, Mark, everybody was on here. I really appreciate you guys. Looks like I got 4 viewers still. I'll probably sit here and wrap it up over the next few minutes. If you guys got any more questions or anything, holler at me. But I'll just keep going on about my story until then. But I started trapping out of necessity because there was beaver backing up the place, and I bought conibears, and then I found out that I couldn't use the conibears. So I started getting into, reading the laws and finding out who knew the laws and who were the trappers in the state. And I started reading trapperman.com, and I think I read trapperman.com for a year and a half. I was already talking to people on there and communicating with people on trapperman.com for a year and a half before I ever trapped. And some of the best men I know I met on that site, and then I met face to face afterwards. And I used to just get on the trapping only forum on Trapperman, and well, trapping only was really good, and the guys in there are really kind. But then you get into Trapper Talk on Trapperman, you get a lot of guys in there that have, it's an opinions forum. It's not so much a forum for teaching and learning. It's more of communicating and giving each other a hard time and sharing information with each other and giving each other props and whatever they do. And for the most part, I think Trapperman's a great forum, especially for new trappers. They don't allow for any kind of cussing, or they're a lot more G-rated than my lives will be, than my life is. And they that's a good place. If you're not on Trapper Man, you should get on there and get to meet people. After being on there a while, I found out they had a chat section in Trapper Man, and that's where all the hardcore, badass trappers have their own chats, and you get in there and chat with them. And I've learned so much from those guys. I can say here, how long have you been trapping? 2017 was my first year hunting and stuff. I trapped for 3 seasons straight, and then I took a job where I couldn't trap for 2 whole seasons, and it ruined me. So I quit that job and came back out here to the country so I could trap. And I trapped all last season. I trapped all last year. I did nuisance work all last year, and then I trapped all last season. And I've been doing nuisance work all year this year, and now I'm going to trap for 120 days straight. Yeah, hunting stuff. A lot of forums are based on opinion. Um, if you get the right stuff, you'll find that there's a lot of information that you shouldn't just believe blindly. You got to research it for yourself, and I feel that way about everything. I don't believe anything the news tells me blindly. I research it for myself. If I hear something on news that seems crazy, I go look into it, find out what's actually being said, because so much stuff is fake these days, and people, trolls just put stuff on the internet just to say it. But on Trapper Man, they've got multiple different forums within the forum. So you've got the standard Trapper Talk, and then you've got. Are we the only ones here? No, there's five. There's five viewers right now, so it's you, me, and four other people viewing. So I know my nephew left. I know Jinx left. Um, I know that Mark left, and that's it so far. But I really like Trapper Man. It's it's worth it. It's a great thing to get into. It's free. And if you're not on it, you should be. I say it all the time. If you're not trapping, you should be. And I think a lot of people should be trapping. I think a lot of people think they take for granted what trapping is worth and how much good you do when it comes to conservation efforts, and how much you learn about the animals. It's a much better deal. Yeah, check it out. Trapperman.com. You get on there. There's a guy named Paul. I think it's Paul Dobbins. His dad's Charlie Dobbins. Charlie Dobbins has passed away. He's an old man. He was a real great beaver trapper. I've got one of his books. It's a good book. And he made some really great lures. Paul took it over, on his dad's passing, I guess, or maybe later in his dad's years. And he still sells all of his dad's lures. And Paul's an interesting guy. He's going to ask you a lot of questions. He moderates the people who try to join the chat himself. And then he has moderators on each one of the forums. And a lot of good guys on there. But he's going to ask you a lot of questions. Make sure you're not an anti-trapper. Make sure that you're not, somebody coming in there to troll everybody and cause problems. And the first time I'm really security oriented. I like to keep my information private. And whenever he started asking me questions, I was kind of offended. Like, who's asking me these questions? I'm just trying to join a forum. Well, he denied me. The first time I was like, what are you asking these questions for? I don't need to tell you any of this. I'm just trying to get on the forum. He denied me. So I had to go back and reapply. after I find out who he was, because I read more of the forum, and I had no idea who Charlie Dobbins was in 2016 or 2015. I had no idea who Paul Dobbins was. You know, I didn't know any of the guys in the trap community, or especially the older trappers that have been around in the past that have long gone. I had no idea, and it was a good time once I finally got in. Only live traps unless you got a nuisance tag. Where you at? You in Colorado or you in Nevada? Where you at? Hunting and stuff. You can cage trap coyotes if you're in Colorado. Yeah, that's what I thought. Um, you can cage trap a lot of cats. I cage trapped a couple this year. I got it on video. I got a whole episode where it's basically cage trapping. That hasn't come out yet. I forget which episode it is, 12 or 13, but it'll come out when it does. It's all cage trapping. And there's a guy online. I forget his name right now, but I didn't know who he was until 2 weeks ago. I still don't know his name, but I watch a handful of his videos, and he's out of Arizona. He's out of Arizona, and he uses cages. And that's he makes his own cages, and they look a lot like the cam trips, which is what I use, the cam trips. And he he always says the same thing. I'll see you down the line, and I didn't know that. Whenever I just naturally came up with that as the name for my show because I'm always saying it whenever I'm cutting a video. I either say Dominion out or see you down the line. Any of my vlogs I do with my phone, I always say Dominion out as a sign off. And then once I started using the camera, I was always saying, I'll see you down the line. And it just naturally became the name for the show because of it. I was trying to come up with a name, and I started watching some videos and realized down the line is probably the best thing. Well, he says the same thing every time he signs off, but he's a damn good cage trapper. The show's called Down the Line. Dominion Predator Controls Down the Line. Episode 10 just came out the other day. Episode 11 comes out tomorrow. And there are 30 to 45 minutes of straight trapping. No nonsense, no building it up. Action, action, action. That's what I like to see whenever I watch stuff. I like action. So that's what I watch. It's on my channel. I'm not special. I don't got a TV channel, so just go on my YouTube here, and you'll see right there all of my recent videos for the last, I don't know, 2 months, month and a half. Have been episodes to the first season of my show. And I like making videos. I made videos for a lot of different things. I've made, you know, what I call truther videos. I've done newscast. I've done a handful of things that had to do with news and information. I've done, like sermons and things like that. And I've done that on different channels, or I've done it on Rumble, or I've done it live um, in church. I don't go to church anymore. I should, but I don't. Um, but I made videos a lot, and I like making videos. And I didn't really start learning about how to make videos until I started trying to put together vlogs for last season. So last season, while I was trapping, I was putting together videos because earlier in the year before that, in the summer, I was trapping beaver, and I started making beaver videos. Yeah, Kyle, I've got two cheap Chinese trail cams that do pretty good video, 1080p, and then I've got one Moultrie that I spent way too much money on. That's just a piece of crap, and it's one of the cheaper ones. It doesn't do Wi-Fi or anything. And then I'm thinking about getting hold as soon as I can afford it. Probably next year. I'm gonna buy a couple of good Tacticams with no glow, and I'm gonna start using those while I'm testing my lures as I build them. I want some no glow tests, videos. But I don't really have a lot of trail cam footage right now. Typically, the only time I use my trail cams is whenever I'm sitting on a beaver job or a skunk job and I'm not getting any action. I go set up a camera for a couple nights, see what's happening. On Rumble, yeah, it's the same thing. It's just called Dominion Predator Control. Basically, I set up my Rumble to where it's connected to my YouTube. So at first, I was uploading videos to Rumble and YouTube, and what happened is sometimes like Rumble would update, and when it did, it would have two of my videos on it because it would take it from my YouTube to Rumble when I already put it on Rumble. So the Rumble page is kind of weird right now. I haven't figured it out too well. But I just quit uploading to Rumble. I just now upload to YouTube only, and every 2 or 3 days, Rumble does a sync, and it pulls my videos off of YouTube. It's on Rumble. Yeah, um, Kyle, I agree. Watching how an animal works to set or a cage can be really helpful. I tend to offset all of my traps, just about every trap to the right. I learned that from Andy Weiser, watching one of his videos. If you guys don't know who Andy Weiser is, get on to go to Dakota Line Snares, Mark Steck's website, and try and find a copy of Andy Weiser's Western Coyote Trapping or Andy Weiser's Western Bobcat Trapping. The information he puts in those videos is the best stuff I ever saw. I said this in the first episode of my show. I've emulated just about everything I do off of what Andy did in those videos, and it worked great. I mean, every year I've gotten more catches of each animal. Last year I caught more than a third of cats compared to my coyote numbers. I had 29 catches in cats and 72 catches in coyotes in about 103 days. And that's huge cat numbers for me. The most cats I ever caught in one season before was 13. So last year I caught 29, had to release 9 of them. So it was a good time. We're getting an hour and 7 minutes, it looks like. And you guys have been great. I appreciate you sitting through this live with me. I was just trying to make sure the audio worked. I'd put up 2 other lives previously, and one of them went on for almost 30 minutes while I was just sitting here chatting, trying to figure it out. And everybody was cool enough to try and help me out figure it out. And then I called my nephew and I asked him to get his computer out and then record on his computer me trying to communicate through it. Well, as soon as we turned it all on, I realized what my problem was and fixed it in one click. And the audio now is good. So you guys aren't complaining. All you guys sat through and watched this. There's still 4 subscribers and or 4 viewers, and I only see 2 of you communicating with me. So I don't know who the other 2 are, but whoever you are, thanks for viewing. I'll go ahead and shut this down now, and y'all have a good night. And until next time, Dominion out.